Well, hey, it's rhubarb season. I do love rhubarb. I really rate it and love it. It's my all-time favourite perennial vegetable or fruit. It's actually a vegetable and I love it. Every year I make so much rhubarb wine. It's unbelievable the amount I make. Gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of the stuff. I can't make it enough. But this year, I thought I want to try and vary my recipes. I want to make some different style rhubarb wines. The first one I'm going to make this year that I haven't tried before is going to be rhubarb and ginger. Rhubarb and ginger go together really well. There's something about the tartness of the rhubarb and the gingerness that just blend together really well. I use this combination a lot in cooking. For sweet dishes and savoury dishes, it's fantastic. So I want to try it in a bottle of wine. And if you're enjoying these videos about winemaking, tips, tricks, wine recipes, wine reviews, all sorts of things to do with wine, why don't you subscribe down below? This recipe calls for 2.5 kilos of rhubarb. That's rhubarb without the leaves, just the stems. So go and gather your rhubarb. And then the next step is to de-leaf it and chop it up very finely. Once you've chopped your rhubarb into small little chunks, you want to put it into a food bag or a Tupperware box and put it in the freezer overnight, or until you're ready to carry on with the recipe. It doesn't have to be just 24 hours or overnight. It can be any duration. You can make this midwinter if you want to. Because when you freeze rhubarb, it breaks down the cell structure and it releases a lot more juice and a lot more flavour. And it's the juice and the flavour you're after for wine, especially rhubarb wine. So bag it up and put it in the freezer. A few weeks have passed since I started making this video, and my rhubarb from the freezer is well and truly frozen solid. Perfect for making this rhubarb and ginger wine. I can't wait. I love rhubarb wine. Anyway, let's get on with it. No time to spare, no time to faff around. Let's get this wine in the bucket. First thing you need is your sterilised fermentation bucket. I've got a brand new one, arrived the other day. I'm so excited. And now, to your bucket, you want to add your rhubarb. Pour it straight in. There's no need to defrost it. That's going to happen naturally anyway as the wine becomes. So, pour in your 2 kilos of rhubarb. Awesome stuff. Looking amazing. I love rhubarb. I went to pick even more today. More wines coming up. Oh yes, right then. Now, your sugar. You want to be adding about 1.2 kilos of sugar straight on top of your rhubarb. I always use that granulated sugar for my wines. You can buy and use brewing sugar for wine making and beer making. Is there a difference? Yeah, there is. But I'll go into that in another video and link it right up by here so you can see it. Sugar. Pour it in. 1.2 kilos of sugar will give you a lovely, dry, succulent dinner wine. One you can serve with a lot of meats and things like that, and seafood and pastas, and it's great for barbecues as well. If you prefer a sweeter wine for after your dinner, increase the ratio of sugar to about 1.5 kilos per gallon. That will give you a fantastically sweet, gorgeous, dripping wet, succulent pudding wine, one you can share with your friends when they come over for that banoffee pie or creme caramel, anything like that goes really well as a dessert wine. So it does depend on what you want to be doing with your wine. Do you want a table wine or do you want a dessert wine? I am going for a table wine because I don't eat desserts very often. Therefore, a dessert wine will simply be left for several years, maturing, becoming even better. But I wouldn't actually get round to drinking it. So pour in your desired amount of sugar. And there's a few more things you want to add to your ginger and rhubarb wine. Ginger being one of them, but not the only thing. Rhubarb wine does need pectinase added to it, peptide enzyme, to destroy some of the pectic acid in the rhubarb. So just sprinkle some in. I'm going to do that now. So sprinkle in about a teaspoon's worth of pectinase. Available from your homebrew shops, available online. There's multiple sellers out there on eBay, Amazon. Or if you are really struggling to find pectinase, you could use the peel of the pawpaw plant that contains a natural peptide enzyme. It will really help your wine clear and give you a sparkly finish to your wine. Anyway, sprinkle away. The sugar now is starting to be abrasive against the rhubarb and extract all the juice. Going to defrost it. So now we need to add the ginger. I love ginger, and I love ground ginger simply because it is so versatile. You can keep it in a jar for years and years and years. It never lasts that long here with me. I always seem to use it within months. You can buy it in bulk. You can then use what you want without worrying about it going slightly off. You don't need too much ginger for the rhubarb wine. It's so powerful and fiery that it really complements the rhubarb finish. That the rhubarb tartness and the ginger oomph brings out this type of ginger beerish, lively. So you want to pour in about 4 tablespoons, not teaspoons, tablespoons. That will do a gallon. If you're using fresh ginger root, use a decent sized gnarled. That'd be perfect. This wine is going to be autumn in about a year's time, but I like to keep it just over the year and then drink it in late autumn, early winter. I find the ginger and the rhubarb combination brilliant for those darker winter, autumn months. There's that hint of summer with that reassuringness of the ginger that it's winter, you're safe, you're tucked up by the fire. Fantastic. I love it. But it'll make an equally awesome summer wine as well. So what we need to do now is pour over 4 litres of water and let it stand for a day. Keep it in a warm place, keep a lid on it, keep it covered, pour over the water. The aroma is divine, it's beautiful, it's... Oh, if you don't grow rhubarb in your garden or down the allotments, go for it. Buy a few grams. It is one of those awesome perennial plants that will give you a lifetime worth of fruits for minimal, zero effort. We need to put a lid on this and leave it stand for a day, 24 hours, because you want that pectinase to do its magic with the rhubarb before you add the yeast. So close it up, put a lid on, shut it, put a towel over the top. Use anything to keep any debris, dog hair, flies, whatever is in the air out of your wine. So I'm just going to put a simple lid on it and come back tomorrow. Good morning. Hello again. A day has passed since I added all the lovely stuff into the rhubarb and ginger wine. It's smelling awesome. It's looking brilliant. It's behaving just as it should. So now, important step. It's the step that's going to turn it from the fruit juice into a wine, and that is adding the yeast. For this wine, I'm going to be using a high alcohol wine yeast because I want to keep on feeding sugar into the wine to enhance the alcohol, to feed the yeast so that the yeast can do a great job and can keep on making alcohol up to about 20%. I thought I'm going to push this wine as far as I can. Ginger really does ferment really well. Perfection! Yeast added, the must is looking brilliant, and now what we need to do is put the lid back on it. Let this stand for 5 to 7 days. You want to stir it daily. Every day, give it a good stir, get the oxygen working in, get that yeast active, multiplying in their numbers, going go mental having a great party. Then strain off the rhubarb into a demijohn. Fill it right the way up to the neck, because at that point the initial fermentation, that vigorous party would have been over. And put an airlock in and let it do its thing in the demijohn. And here is one I started last week. It's rhubarb and ginger, absolutely the same recipe. I've been adding about a teaspoon of sugar to it every 2 days. That just feeds that yeast. It gives the yeast that added extra food source. One of the beauties of making your own home brew is that you can experiment with different flavours, different ingredients. If you want to make a wine because you have 2 different types of ingredients, you don't have to wait for someone else to make a wine and write the recipe down for you. Experiment with it, have fun. That is the beauty of home brew. It's the beauty of winemaking. Develop your own recipes. Develop the wines that you want to make in your own way. There is no right or wrong ways of making wine. There are guidelines. Yes, definitely. Keep everything clean. Keep everything as sanitized as you can. You need yeast, you need sugar, you need time. But ingredient-wise, if you think it's going to work, try and balance the flavours out. So rhubarb and ginger, classic combination. Rhubarb and mint. And there's another video that will be coming up soon, because I love rhubarb and mint combinations. But I can't find any recipes out there, so I'm going to be doing that recipe because I like that wine. If I had waited until I had found a recipe, half the wines I make wouldn't be made. And that would be a great detriment to my wine rack. So if you have enjoyed this video, why don't you subscribe down below, and also check out this playlist up by here with more amazing homebrew videos and recipes, tips and tricks. And I'll see you all soon. Have fun now.